Thanks, EA. I'm excited to welcome in Pro Football Focus's college football and NFL analyst, Trevor Sikkema. Now, Trevor, let's get right into it. Let's ignore when each team picks for a second and just talk which player you specifically like for the Jets and think would fit well into the scheme.
Oh man, there's so many that I think could be great for the Jets, and there's two ways to take that, right? One way you could say, all right, this team needs a lot of talent, which the Jets do in a little bit of ways, but I think what they've been doing over the last couple of years has really built this roster along very, very well. A couple of players that I love for them at the edge rushing spot to pair with Carl Lawson, Kayvon Thibodeau, love him. I know a lot of Jets fans out there know him very well. Speed rusher type. Was projected to be a #1 overall pick kind of player during the season. It's kind of gone down a little bit, so now the Jets have some hopes to get him at #4, shoot, maybe even at #10. But now the guy, Jermaine Johnson, Florida State player who you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who's had a better draft season than Florida State edge rusher Jermaine Johnson's. Offensive line, I know they're beginning on Ike Ekwonu. A couple of guys, Evan Neal, Charles Cross, they could be great additions as well if they end up selecting Evan Neal. Gives them some guard tackle flexibility. But of course, I can't get out of here without saying wide receiver. Wide receiver is such a big impact that they need to make here in the draft, no matter where it is. Doesn't have to be with their 2 first-round picks. Could be somewhere in the 2nd round as well. But guys like Garrett Wilson, guys like Drake London, guys like Jameson Williams, those could all be very welcomed additions for a prospect I really liked last year in Zach Wilson, for him to really take that next step in his second year.
Now, what have you thought personally over the last month or so of free agency with what the Jets have been doing and the moves they've been making and some of the tight ends that they've been bringing in that have a lot of postseason experience?
Yeah, no, it's just everybody on the roster. I think they've done a really great job, right? The Jets have had a lot of money to spend, and I think that they've been spending it the right way. You've seen some GMs across NFL history really get cap happy, if you will, where they have a lot of capital to spend in a certain free agency period, and they go after the flashy toys. They just go after all of these big name guys, and they don't really work out for one way or the other. And then even if they do, if they hit on some, well, then all of a sudden they still have major needs when they go into the NFL draft, because all their draft capital or all their free agency capital went to one person or 2 people. But they just didn't do that. I love that Joe Douglas approached free agency the way that he did, because he filled out a lot of their needs along the roster. Important part is that he navigated free agency successfully, which allows him to have a lot of flexibility to take best player available when it comes to #4 overall, #10 overall, and even those early 2nd round picks that they have as well. So I really like a lot of the moves that they made. They fixed up the offensive line. You mentioned the tight ends that they brought in. CJ Uzomah is going to be fantastic for them. We know that they were in the running for guys like Tyreek Hill, so they're still looking to make sure they take big swings at the bat. But in terms of what they did in free agency, you're never going to get the superstars in one period. He did a great job at building this team from the depths forward to get the most out of the NFL draft at the end of April.
Lastly, what do you expect to see from this team in year 2 of head coach Robert Saleh?
Man, there's a chance that it could be a lot of fun, right? Robert Saleh is a fantastic coach, and I know that he was highly praised when he was in San Francisco. I know that people like a lot of the processes that he has put in with the New York Jets, and I love Zach Wilson coming out of last year's draft. He was my 2nd highest rated quarterback behind just Trevor Lawrence, but there's so much talent in this kid. And I think that over the last 2 years with Zach Wilson, you've realized that this team is going to do what they need to do to put that talent around him, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, thank you so much for all of your insight, Trevor. It was great to hear from you, and we really appreciate your time.